Hello, welcome to my schouw video. I am going to be showing and talking about some things I did. So the work I want to show for Daan's class is this work with a title suggested by Daan himself actually, CassetteNet. I asked the question, what would have happened if on New Year's Eve of 1999 the Y2K bug would have wiped out all digital technology? Would humanity revert back to analog forms of communication? What would the internet be like, or how would it function if we only used analog information? With this in mind, I recreated different websites like Marktplaats, Reddit and omaweetraad.nl in audio form, so it could be easily distributed, remixed and copied over cassette tapes.
Van oude gewoontes en nieuwe constructieve dingen gaat doen.
Welkom, we zijn er weer bij de Marktplein Cassette. We hebben deze week een hele hoop leuke spulletjes in de aanbieding bij
So next up is the light installation for Mike's class. I started experimenting with the moire effect with different materials and lights. And then I came to this setup using embroidery rings with these mesh screens in them to see if I could play with their shadows in interesting ways. I used an Arduino powering 2 cross-fading LEDs, and after some experimenting it came to this installation. This was what I presented as well, but I wasn't happy with it yet because it still spun too fast. So this past week I made another iteration where the light is projected upwards instead of forwards, and the speed of the spinning screens is modulated by a pulse width modulator. So with Louis, there is 2 assignments that I quickly want to show. Firstly, I worked together with Bart to do a live audio-visual performance on stream, where I did the audio and Bart took care of the visuals. And this was just really a lot of fun to figure out. And most of the process of this performance was getting everything to work properly and like stream well. And I'm happy with that. And I think the end result was really, really nice. And then, so this assignment is still sort of in progress, but I wanted to show some of it still. In the context of face filters, I made this mask out of magnetic tape. And we started making Snapchat filters, and these are some of them. Next up is the first assignment we did with Bram this semester, where we learned how to make websites, basically. And I really enjoyed making just some really silly websites to figure out the techniques, and to kind of see what sort of small interactions I could make with really simple coding, basically. So here's a small tour of what I've made. The second assignment we did with Bram is one I didn't finish, but I can show you some progress of it. I wanted to make a sort of kabaddi style multiplayer game. Kabaddi is an Indian kind of a mix between tag and dodgeball, and I thought it would be really interesting to see if I could make it into a really simple multiplayer game. So here's some process shots of it. I hope I can finish it pretty soon.
I like elephants and God likes elephants. Here's a realistic elephant.
And then there's the poster I made in Daniel's class, where we had to use a piece of software that wasn't intended for graphical purposes to make a poster. And I chose the Temple OS operating system, which is an OS that was developed by a single man who believed that God had commanded him to do so. So it's a pretty weird system. So in its 3D sprite editor, I made some typography, which then I kind of glitched up a little bit by using some of the system's finest features that some may call bugs. And then I made a couple of compositions with these images, and I ended up choosing this last one to screen print. And then in Jan Robert's class, I started off with making this video clip in Unity because I wanted to do some weird animations. And then from there, I thought the clipping part of Unity was kind of the most interesting part, so I experimented with that a little bit. Ended up clipping some characters through some other things. And then I had a 3D scan of my face, and I did some clipping experiments with that. And then I wanted to mess around with Unity's cloth physics engine, which I thought was a lot of fun. And then in the end, I got a couple of better 3D scans. Yeah, I ended up with this really slow animation of my face sort of sagging in and expanding back again. Yeah. So that was it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next year. At school, maybe?